Per Stirpes? I don't know Latin. Isn't that a dead language? What does that even mean? Hi, I'm Alec Oslin, an attorney at the Yanowitz Law Firm, where we've been assisting families with wills, trusts, and probate for over 30 years. Now, the good news is I do have a minor in Latin, and I'm here to explain what per stirpes means in plain English so that you don't have to learn Latin to understand that legal phrase. Per stirpes is a clause that is common in the estate planning world, and it's associated with the distribution of assets when someone passes away. Per stirpes is a much more common distribution, but there is a distribution that's also called per capita by generation. Per stirpes is where we divide our assets to our children, and if a child predeceases you, their children will equally inherit the deceased child's share. I like to think about estate planning distributions like buckets. Let's go through some examples to better understand what I mean by these legal distributions. So let's pretend that you have 3 children and you're leaving your assets to your descendants per stirpes. If all of your children survive you, that means that each child is going to get 1/3 of the bucket that makes up all of your assets. Pretty straightforward. If one of your children predeceases you and they have 2 surviving children, those 2 children, your grandchildren, they're going to inherit their parents' 1/3 share. So that means that each of those grandchildren will get 1/6, and then the remaining 2 living siblings, they're going to get 1/3. If one of those surviving children, if they also predeceased you and they had 3 children, then those 3 children would get 1/9 of the bucket. So we'd have the grandchildren where there's 2 of them, they get 1/6. The grandchildren where there's 3 of them, they get 1/9. And then that surviving child of yours, they still get their 1/3 share. If a child predeceases you and does not have children, their 1/3 would just be distributed to their living siblings or go down their family tree if that child was also predeceased you but had children of their own. So that's how per stirpes works. So per capita by generation is a way that we can equalize the distributions at each family level. For example, if we have 3 children who survive you, and then we're leaving all of our assets to your descendants per capita by generation, each of your children would inherit 1/3 of the assets. Where it gets different than the per stirpes is when we look at the grandchildren. If we pretend that 2 of your children have predeceased you, with one having a living child and the other one having 2 living children, then each of those grandchildren, they would inherit 2/9 of the estate. And then your surviving child would inherit 1/3. This is different than the per stirpes because in per stirpes, the child who is an only child, they would inherit their parents' 1/3, and the grandchildren who have a sibling, they would split their parents' 1/3, so they would get 1/6. But with the per capita by generation, all of the grandchildren are going to be treated equally, so they will all get the 2/9 share, and again, that surviving child gets their 1/3. So again, the per capita by generation, it just makes it so the distributions at each level are the same. It does not matter how many siblings there are. If it's an only child, they're going to be treated just the same as their cousins are. There's a number of different ways that you can leave assets to your beneficiaries, which is why it's important that you work with an attorney who's able to explain all of this and make sure that you can accomplish your goals. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out when we post a new video, and I hope you learned a little bit of Latin today. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.